Good morning. Literally, I'm actually recording this on Monday morning. So, because of that, today's episode is brought to you by Black Rifle. They're not a sponsor, they should be. I'm kidding. They don't have to be, but really love their product, so I'm going to talk about them for just a second. Texas Squatch might be my favorite. Really flavorful, gets you caffeinated. It does the job, and the fact that it is a dark roast, big deal. This stuff, Black Rifle, is by far, like, if I'm brewing at home, one of my favorites. The other one is a local brewer, like local shop. I don't know what else to call them at the moment, but Texas Squatch is one of my favorites from Black Rifle. We'll highlight the other place next week. So, I love that Black Rifle is from the U.S. Apparently, in my head, I had a whole thing worked out of what I was going to say, but apparently getting it out at 4:30. No, that's not 4:30. 5:30 is way more difficult than what it is functioning in my head. Apparently, this and this don't work well together at this moment. So I'm a little disappointed because I really wanted to be a bit more eloquent this morning. I am drinking my coffee out of a teal coffee cup because I have birds on the brain. I've been watching a lot of duck hunting stuff, primarily teal, and then of course doves, because doves is first. Doves come next Monday, so I think we'll do a special podcast episode because of that. I don't know how it'll work just yet. I'm still working on what I want to do to make it special. There was a handful of things I wanted to talk about today, this stuff being included. So, but there's quite a bit of news. I think we'll push the rest of the hunting talk towards the end of the podcast, along with maybe some like cooking stuff and whatnot. But I think we should start off with Brent Hinds. It was a horrible, horrible thing that is extremely unfortunate. Brent Hinds passed away in a motorcycle accident. There's been all kinds of touching tributes coming out for Brent. If I don't think I said where he's from. Again, 5 a.m. brain, apparently. This is not going as good as what I had hoped. But unfortunately, Brent Hinds, the guitarist of Mastodon, passed away, motorcycle accident. And there's been a lot of heartfelt tributes from, people like Jamie Josta, the guys over at Lamb of God, Loudwire, Metal Injection, just all over the place, and it garnered national news, which metal used to really not get that, even whenever somebody would pass away. And so it says something about the state of metal where we're having things like that discussed on that kind of level. And then I guess that's where I wanted to go with it. The fact that it's on like that kind of level to where it is garnering national news. Like we've had bands at the Olympics and stuff now. Metal is becoming more accepted, which is weird because like the whole point of metal, I guess in a sense, is the not being accepted. So maybe more people are feeling left out and secluded than what we used to think. At least from like the metal aspect, because it seems to be a more commonplace thing. I wanted to say a bit more about Brent, just because like it's extremely unfortunate. The guy was only 51 years old. I can't imagine like. The thing about grief is there's really no words that are comforting, even if you've been there before in a similar death. Like, you've lost somebody that is like, oh, I've lost a close friend too. Well, how could we get better at comforting somebody? Honestly, like, those of you that follow me on YouTube and stuff, or maybe know that I've got 2 channels on TikTok, or know that I have several podcasts on Apple or Spotify or whatever, know that I am a Christian because I do have a Bible study podcast. The Bible study podcast doesn't make me a Christian, but it is an example of me being a Christian. But where was I going to go with this? Comforting. So, from the book of Job, there is a time where his friends just sit there in silence and are just there with him. And I think about that a lot. Because sometimes it's better to just sit there quietly. Because if you go to the book of Job and read the book of Job, when his friends do open their mouths, they kind of insert their foot. And when we're trying to, be there for somebody, we don't want to do that. I don't think we intend to do that. But, whenever we're talking about grief, well, blah, 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 blah. But you don't know the hurt that person is exactly going through. Like, they're hurting in that moment. And you may have an idea, but you can't fix it. We can only be there for them. And I think as people are generally fixers. Even if we don't realize it and we think that we're listeners, I think generally we're fixers. Generally. I'm not saying that applies to everybody, but generally. And so if we're wanting to fix it for somebody, we're going to do whatever we can. A lot of times we can't do anything whenever they're grieving. So, again, my heart goes out to the friends and family of Brent Hinds. I am extremely sorry for your loss. Not being a friend or a family of Brent's, he brought wonderful metal music to my ears, along with several others, and it's just, sad. So, moving on from that, another sad thing, thankfully no deaths though. Just read this morning, as I was brewing my Squatch, Kim Dracula, his bus caught fire, and he was actually asleep while it happened, and thankfully he was able to be awakened, because in his post that he made, he even stated that the door was locked to his room, so things could have gotten really sketchy really, really quick. Thankfully they didn't. Thankfully he was able to get out and everything was good and grand and wonderful. Well, as good and grand and wonderful as it can be. So he has to miss 2 shows. I say 2 shows because I'm not sure if one of them was yesterday's show that he missed and then today's show he's missing, or if it's today's show and tomorrow's show. It would have to be yesterday's and today's. Sitting here doing the math. Because, yeah, okay. So they will be back with Ice Nine Kills in Wisconsin. Him and his band. So, bummer, but at least he's okay. I mean, think about all the different times where, like, like, we all know somebody that's a heavy sleeper. Like, that could have gotten bad. So, thankfully it didn't. Because there's too much tragedy in the world. So, we gotta look at some positives. So let's look at that one as a positive. Unfortunately, they have to rebuy, like, everything, though. Gear, a lot of their gear is missing. Well, not so much missing, but gone. Kim had to go buy a new phone just to make the post that he made. ADD kicked in there for a second, and I started thinking, like, I wonder. This is a question for anybody out there that's watching or listening or whatever. Please comment on whichever form of whatever platform you're watching this on. Please comment and let me know your thoughts or what have you. But or like what it is for you. Do you remember all your passwords? Do you have them saved in a file somewhere? Do you have them like written down on a notebook like you're 80 years old? What do you do? Because I don't remember most of my passwords. The face recognition thing is a huge ordeal now. Thankfully, like, this is the password sometimes. Which at the same time can be, like, sketchy, because what if somebody, like how good, like, how safe is that? Maybe it's not safe at all. I don't know. I guess we'll move on to country now. Do I want to move on to country now? Let's double check the new releases. Friday was kind of a busy day for me, so I didn't get to do my usual routine of listening to new releases. So I want to make sure. Whoops, I don't want my library. I want Apple Music. I want to make sure that if there was something I wanted to. Yes. Testament is going to be coming out with a new album. Private Music by Deftones is out. We have new We Came as Romans. Let's see. Okay. May have to check out Arcadia. That is a trippy cover. New Basque. There is new Hailstorm out. Blackbriar, Reinforcer. Some new Mob Rules. Of course, Baby Metal. Let's see. Are there any singles? Well, Prison of Flesh dropped earlier this week. Last week. The week before the one leading up to this one, I believe. Anyways, Prison of Flesh by Lorna Shore dropped. It is explicit. So if you are not an explicit person like I am, just forewarning you before you go over there to click on it. I guess it pretty well covers what I want to talk about metal-wise. I'm fixing to get on my country soapbox. So there is beef between Gavin Adcock and Charley Crockett. Now, I have recently become a fan of both within the past year. I do like Charley Crockett's sound. However, the guy does do a lot of covers. And if you have noticed this whole beef thing already, you kind of know where I'm going with this. But so, to start at the beginning, what happened was Charley Crockett made a post about how, I guess he was feeling aggravated that people were upset that a black woman made a country album. I'm going to address that later. I was getting ready to address it. I'm going to hold on to that thought for just a second. So he was upset that people were upset that a black woman made a country album. Yes, I love you too. Sorry, for all of you listening to the audio version, my puppy is trying to get loves at the moment. And hey, say hi to the camera. This is my dog Penelope. If you're new around these parts, she is a lovable, wonderful critter who needs all the attention in the world. But anyway, so he was upset that people were upset about Beyonce's country album, and then even went on to talk about how country artists record over trap beats and blah 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 blah, including directly calling out Morgan Wallen, and then also hinting at Gavin Adcock. However, wasn't ever really a fan of Morgan's up until recently. The new I'm the Problem album really is what drew me in, and if you've listened to some of my previous episodes, you know that. Honestly, right now, for album like country album of the year, it could be I'm the Problem, it could be The Party's Over, right? I think that's the name of it, by Morgan Wade. Had to slow down there for a second. Too many MWs, too many Morgans too. Parker McCollum by Parker McCollum. John Party's Hollywood, was it Hollywood Bar? Because that album's really, really good. There's so many good country albums this year. It is blowing my mind. But that being said, Gavin Adcock fired back. Hang on one second, I have to take care of something. Okay. Now that I've taken care of that, where do I want to go from here? Oh, Gavin Adcock. Gavin Adcock's album is good too. So to sit there and say whatever about, recording country lyrics over trap beats or whatever, I'm very much of the mindset that you can, because it's been proven over and over again at this point, you can be country and like these other things. It's the whole point of this podcast, right? Being a fan of metal and being a fan of country. It's how the Tin Roof name came to be. So I like some of like the trap tune style stuff or whatever. I consider more country rap than anything, instead of like being country. And of course there's the term like bro country, which Morgan in a lot of cases has fallen under the bro country label. I would put him there under the bro country label up until this recent album. I'm the Problem is very much the heartbreak country sound that many people are familiar and really, really like. It's one of the biggest reasons why I like Ho Wetzel, is because of like the heartbreak country stuff. Co also has like a rocky sound in a lot of his stuff. Same with Gavin Adcock. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've heard a song where Gavin was doing something over country beats or whatever. Or I honestly don't think Gavin should be lumped under the bro country, and nothing that I've heard anyways should lump him under the bro country label anyways. Although I've heard people say Chris Stapleton should too. Chris Stapleton definitely not. He would definitely fall more under like he would lean, personal opinion, the way he writes his music, the way he plays his music and everything like that would definitely lean more towards outlaw country. However, I have heard him try to be lumped into the bro country thing too. That being said, Gavin fired back, calling Charley a cosplayer cowboy, saying, I have more cow poo under my pinky fingernail than you've ever been around. You cosplay cowboy, blah, 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 blah. Hank Williams Sr. wants his shtick back. How many more times are you going to cover Jamestown Ferry? Which, as much of a fan as I am of Charley Crockett, the guy does do a lot of covers. I love Charley's music. It's good. I like Lonesome Drifter. I think it's really cool how much music he pushes, because there is original tracks in there. I think country music needs his sound and his style as much as it needs Morgan's and Gavin's. That being said, going back to what Charley said about Beyonce's country album. Country. It is not a country album. She even said that it was not a country album whenever it first came out. And I've went back to that several times. Shabuzi's album was country. I don't think anybody has a problem getting behind anybody of any color whenever they produce authentic country and saying this is country. Whether it's done over a trap beat, you could still say this is country - rap. Somebody records a country album, picking and granting, this is country. I don't think that is the issue. I think the issue is when somebody goes, well, this is country, but it's not actually country. I'm just trying to win an award, and this is going to be the easiest lane for me to do it in. First of all, what a slap in the face to all the female artists that come in here and just lay it down, like doing amazing work. Talking about Sierra Farrell, talking about Lainey Wilson, Maureen Morris, Morgan Wade. The list goes on and on. Authentic country stars. Amazing women artists. And then Beyonce's thing. I tried to listen to it. I couldn't. Plain and simple. So, and what a weird thing to defend as opposed to what is considered bro country. And maybe his point was supposed to be more like, hey, you play this kind of music, and yet you're going to say whatever about this? Maybe that's the angle he was going at. In which I could see his case. But I think he should have verbally stated it better, if that's what he was going for. Because it very much came out poorly. And then he tried to, I guess, make nice with Gavin by leaving Gavin 60 roses and a copy of his new album on vinyl. And Gavin took a shot back, making an Instagram video talking about how he couldn't sell enough tickets to play in the building that Gavin was in. But it was nice of him to, like he was down the road at a different venue the night before or whatever, but it was nice of him to send him 60 roses and this $3 vinyl album titled $1 a Day. So I've seen articles where people were trying to say, oh, Gavin and Charley's beef is over, they made nice, blah, 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 blah. There was a lot of underhanded jabs by Gavin, and they were all, I'm a pot stirrer, by nature, I guess. I like to aggravate people, and I know when other people are taking shots. Most of the time, I feel like I can read people taking shots most of the time. And in this case, he was definitely taking shots, and they were funny. I'm not gonna lie. I'll still be a fan of both of these guys. This beef seems frivolous and ridiculous in a sense. Gavin was definitely more taking up for himself than anything, and maybe even for Morgan. I think they're friends. I'm not fully certain on that relationship, but it's kind of where I'm at with things with that one. I'm definitely not going to tell anybody, oh, you should be taking this side, blah, 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 which honestly, it's hard to tell people to take sides in any kind of beef that we're not actually involved in. Come on. I mean, apply some sense to it and be like, well, this or this, whatever. And it's not our fight to get into anyways. And like I said, the whole thing just seems frivolous. But I love country music. I love both of their styles. I think we need both of their styles because that is what makes up country today. Which I guess maybe my viewpoint has changed a little bit. I still love the old traditional sound. I still have issues with big record labels, blah, 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 blah. But the sounds that we need are definitely those two sounds. Not just those two sounds, but definitely sounds like those guys. I would even say like Morgan Wallen. The list goes on and on. Like, honestly, if you look at country music right now, it's in a good state. Could it be better? Always. So to say it couldn't would be ridiculous. The new song Cowboy on Waylon's album that's coming out in October. Guys, I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. I think it's gonna be a great album. It just seems like quality. I'm very excited about it. And of course, I guess it would be quality. Like, sitting here thinking about it, Waylon's one of my favorites that I love to listen to, and why wouldn't it be? Shooter's gonna want to do his dad justice and stuff like that. But the fact that we're still getting like that we came across, and when I say we, I mean Shooter. The fact that Shooter came across stuff we had not heard from his dad yet, that his Shooter felt was good enough to put on an album, is super, super cool, and I can't wait to hear it. Pretty well covered music altogether, as well as I wanted to. I've got a question about music in hunting for all my hunters out there that hopefully are still listening at this point. If you are a hunter, in like, what are you listening to on your way to your hunt spot? Like, and I feel like it'll be different in certain ways for deer hunters as opposed to duck hunters. Like, so what are you listening to on your way out to the stand opening day of duck season? What are you listening to on your way out to the stand on the opening day of dove season? Do you have a playlist that you're jamming, and what's on it? Is it more country? Is it more metal? There is a fellow that I saw on TikTok that is a duck hunter who was wearing a Whitechapel shirt. So, like, the fact that there's other duck hunters out there that listen to Whitechapel, first of all, hello. If you are currently seeing this, like, this is a place for you, sir, because you definitely fit the tin roof demographic. I, again, am still struggling with 5 a.m. brain apparently at 6 a.m. because it's almost 6 now. So, yeah, like, what's on your playlist? Because my son and I, we started making ours. So we have the game on there by Triple H, because, like, what a fun one to pump you up right before you go throw decoys out in the morning, or go sit waiting for the doves to start coming in. Let's see what else is on there. He's an Imagine Dragons fan, so there's some of that on there. Don't hate him. He's a little kid. Let him be. He does like country, like real good country. Like, he's taken a liking to some Charley Crockett stuff. He likes Hank Sr. He likes some Wetzel stuff that I have let him listen to. I am selective, but he even is a fan of Will Ramos. Very, very picky on that. He's at an interesting stage. I love talking about my kid, but I don't necessarily like talking about my kid in detail to the public. I am very much protective of my child, and will continue to be so. There's ways that I want to get him involved in stuff like that, like with this, but I will be very, very protective of him, because he is mine, and I am over him. Like, that was a weird way to say it. I have been blessed with the opportunity to take care of him, and I'm going to do that. But, also, Dive Bomb. Yeah. those of you who are not watching the YouTube version or the TikTok version of this, I am wearing a Dive Bomb shirt. It is their black duck that's all patriotic looking. So I'm definitely in the full like hunt mood. Gonna do some scouting today because I actually am off today, which kind of feels weird. There's gonna be some news coming soon. I think gonna try to figure out how I want to do that. But yeah, things are good, guys, and super blessed and happy to be here, happy to be around, happy to be drinking Black Rifle out of a teal cup, daydreaming about teal. Definitely have some recipes in mind, so hoping that I can get a few birds, doves, teal, etc., and deer, because I wanna throw down some really cool cooking stuff. That being said, I think we're pretty well at the end of this. I'm gonna get off here. I've got some out school videos I need to edit so I can get out my first unit, hopefully today, some point this week for sure, I think. But that is about all I got for you guys. I hope you have a happy Monday, and we'll chat soon. We'll see you next week right here under this tin roof.